You're listening to the City World Radio Network, high-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
Social Swinger Lifestyle. My name is Jack Arona, and I will be your host here on City World Radio for the next hour. Actually, come to think of it, it's going to be 2 hours, but you'll find out why soon. Tonight is a very special show. It's our 100th episode here on City World Radio. That's right, 100. Being our 100th show, we're going to be doing things a bit differently tonight. We're going to be playing a compilation of clips from our past 99 shows. A best of the best, as it were. All compiled by the lady sitting next to me, my co-host tonight, my better half, Jill. Say hello to the audience, Jill.
Hey, everybody. Because there have been so many great guests, tonight's show will be a 2-hour broadcast. But even with double our regular time, there were so many guests that while they're not on tonight's show, they were incredible guests. So we want to thank everyone who's helped us make this show the success it is.
Well, I just want to tell you that the show wouldn't be the show without you, so thank you very much. As always, and especially on this auspicious occasion, I want to take a moment to thank all our listeners for taking time out from their busy schedule to listen in every Tuesday night. As I've mentioned, the show has grown to over 100,000 listeners a week, and it continues to grow each and every week. But what's even more fascinating to me personally is that we have listeners from all over the world tuning in. Bottom line, without our listeners, you guys out there listening in right now, we would just be coming in week after week and I'd be talking to myself. I would also like to make a special announcement. On August 24th, we will finally be moving to a new time slot. Thursday nights from 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our new home. However, we will continue to use the Tuesday night 10 to 11 p.m. slot to rebroadcast the previously week's shows. So for those of you who have been listening in every Tuesday night for the last couple of years, you can still listen in. That'll give all the rest of the listeners 2 scheduled chances to listen in to the adult social lifestyle. This show has become the place where the swinger, BDSM, fetish, and polyamorous communities all have a true voice. So if any of you promoters, club owners, educators, entertainers, even general members of the community would like to guest here on the show, just contact us at info@adultsocials.com and say, I want to be a guest on the show. For those of you who live outside the New York City area or just find it more convenient, we can even set up live phone interviews. Before we get to the show, our 100th show, I want to tell you a little bit about our parent company, Adult Socials, because as I've mentioned in the past many times, while I really enjoy hosting the show, the fact is without Adult Socials, the company, there would be no show. As most of you know, Adult Socials runs the most diverse swinger events in North America, over 1,000 events in 2016 alone, a number we will equal by the end of 2017 once again. Just some of our swinger events include couples-only events such as every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night at Bowery Bliss, New York City's premier on-premise swinger club, as well as many single male-friendly swinger events, for example, Tuesday and Thursday nights, also at Bowery Bliss, and Friday nights at our other Manhattan venue, Pendulum. In addition, Adult Socials runs numerous themed-type events. One such event caters to BBWs and is hosted and co-promoted by Curvy Encounters. Curvy Fling Curvy Encounters swinger events currently run the last Saturday of every month, and they are hosted by Becca Clark. So if you're a BBW or if you're into BBWs, check out the most popular BBW swinger event in the Northeast. We also run bisexual swinger events, the most popular of which are the Adult Social Bi Bash Shebang parties, hosted by the one and only Jilly Bean. Bi Bash Shebang, the tri-state area's most popular and longest running all-bi swinger party brings together couples where the male half is either bi or bi-curious, single women into bi-male play, and of course bi and bi-curious single men. Bi-Bash Shebang, which are very transgender friendly, are so popular they are now held every Thursday night as well as the second Saturday of every month. So if you're bi or you're bi-curious and you're into swinging, then check out this long-running New York City tradition. In addition, we host or co-host numerous fetish-themed swinger events, either as co-promoters or those held at our venues run by New York City's most successful fetish promoters. Every Monday night is Leather and Lace, which bridges the gap between the fetish and swinger communities for those who straddle both. Hosted by Juliet Dahl, think of it as a kinky swinger party or a sexy fetish party. That's Leather and Lace every Monday night at Pendulum. Leather and Lace has gotten so popular they are now run every third Saturday of the month, so check out Leather and Lace soon. Every Wednesday night is Porno Jim's Orgasmic Wednesdays at Pendulum, hosted by, you guessed it, the one and only Porno Jim. Orgasmic Wednesdays is an erotic insurgency geared towards the poly and swinger communities, with everything from a cuddle pit to a full play areas. That's Orgasmic Wednesdays every Wednesday at Pendulum. Also, make sure to check out the Porno Jim Radio Hour every Thursday night right on this station. Furthermore, we host a variety of free events. For example, Swinger 101, a non-play forum hosted by yours truly, the perfect intro to swinging, and Girls Night Out, GNO for short, a female-only non-play meet and greet hosted by tonight's co-host and my always better half, Jill. So if you're curious about swinging, then please take advantage of both Swinger 101 and Girls Night Out, and remember, they're free to attend. Just got to be 21 or over. Our newest event is the Sunday Night Barbecue at Caligula. With the addition of Caligula's Sunday night event, we now run events every single day of the week. In fact, some days we have as many as 4 events running. Don't worry if you missed any of that information. With over 20 events, there are way too many to remember. In fact, if I wasn't reading all of this off of the list, I would probably mess up too. But they're all listed on the Adult Social website at www.adultsocials.com, which, by the way, also has the radio archives of this show. That's all 99 shows. For those of you who are new to the show, go check it out at your leisure. Some of our events are run yearly. Other events are held monthly, as well as a host of weekly events. Most of our events are held at venues we're partners in here in New York City, such as Bowery Bliss, located on, you guessed it, the Bowery in Manhattan, Pendulum, located in Manhattan's Financial District, and Caligula, New York, in Astoria, Queens. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Jack Arona, and I'm one half of Jack and Jill, a real committed swinger couple living here in New York City. Together with Jill, I run Adult Socials. Jill, for the most part, handles all our IT work, including all our websites and much of our social media, and I handle the overall marketing and business end of the company. When we started this show, its main purpose was to shed light on the swinger lifestyle while dispelling much of the negative stereotypes associated with it. The show has now evolved to include a variety of alternative lifestyles, including polyamory, BDSM, fetish, and of course, the one closest to our heart, swinging. We'll be back with the best of Adult Social Swinger Lifestyle, Volume 1, in just a bit, so stay tuned.
You've seen it mentioned on TV, movies, magazines, and social media, but you would like to know more. I'm talking about swinging. Enter Swinger 101, an introduction into the swinger lifestyle, a 90-minute forum on swinging hosted by Jack and Jill of Adult Socials. Swinger 101 is held twice a month. One forum is specifically for couples, the other is open to both couples and singles. Swinger 101 is free. However, you must be 21 or over and make a reservation to attend. The only other requirement is a healthy curiosity about swinging. For more info, including how to make a reservation, contact us at adultsocials.com. That's ADULTSOCIALS.com. Or call us at 917-558-3520. We'll see you at the next Swinger 101.
And we're back in the studio doing the last 99 shows, clips from those 99 shows. Our first clip features Carly S. and was originally broadcast earlier this year on January 31st, 2017. Carly S. has been a sex educator and pleasure pioneer since 2010. So listen in.
Drildos? I never heard that term
That's
either.
like what it on the.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a name of a company? Or is that a generic thing?
No, I think that's a generic thing.
We need to buy the name now.
Yeah,
See, we
there
need
you
to
go.
buy the name. We need to
TM.
go on Shark Tank with this.
Oh, my dream
This
is to go on Shark Tank and to be on QVC. I want the QVC lady to like whatever I'm selling.
Lori's
exactly.
her name.
I want
So you
her
want
to
Lori-
promote my stuff. QVC After Dark.
QVC after
See, I have
dark.
it all planned out. I'm ready.
That's very interesting. It's not going to happen, but it's.
I know. I have the dream. I know they're never
But
going to.
think about it. Most of the work that she does, I mean, is kind of geared towards women.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if
It
it's a
would be a
guy
perfect
product
fit.
that's being bought by a woman, and you got to figure that. 80% of these women have some kind of a toy laying in the nightstand.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if
Or a
she'd
back
actually do it. But
massager.
that is, quote unquote. Well, when I was younger, they would just call them massagers,
Yeah.
and it would show a picture of a woman, a real sexy woman,
with it on
holding.
her
Yeah,
back.
you remember that? They still have that picture, I think, on the Doc Johnson box.
Yeah, and Lilo.
Yeah, that's
Lilo's
where they
wand,
use it.
The woman is sitting there in like a spa with the wand on her back.
Exactly. Yeah, they just kind of. Oh, that's the spot. It's like
Sometimes
fucking
I forget
bullshit.
that my massager is actually a back massager, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can use this on my back."
Yeah, you could actually use it
Yeah.
for that purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you probably go out and buy something else, not realizing that you could lay 5 of them down
Yeah, exactly.
underneath your pillow and create like a vibrating bed. If you, especially you, you're walking around with fucking cases of this shit.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Exactly.
So before we run out of time, you got a blog.
I do.
Talk to me about the blog.
It's Dildo or Dildon't. It's a WordPress blog.
Okay, I want you to say that again.
Dildo.
Dildo, the word dildo.
Yep. Or Dildon't.
Or dildon't. So in other words, it's DIL do. Dill, do, or dill, don't. You got to hear that because when I first saw it, I was like, "Wow, that's really that's a cool name."
I love
for
a good pun.
It's working.
Yeah.
It works. That's why I didn't want you to just blow over the dildo. They're not going to get it, but now they'll all remember it.
Yeah,
Believe
exactly.
me. Go ahead.
But yeah, so it's just a mixture of like advice. So like if you're going through a breakup or just like body confidence in the bedroom, and I also do a lot of blog posts of reviews for toys and like how to, so like anal sex 101. I did a pegging post which Stockroom actually posted on their blog.
Explain what pegging is.
Pegging is when a woman wears a strap-on and penetrates a man, which is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And if there is ever a pegging workshop that needs to be taught, I will be there. And I love pegging.
So let me ask you this question. Again, I'm not passing judgment. I want your opinion. If a guy is into getting pegged, not from a submissive, like wants to be dominated point of view, but he actually enjoys the pegging.
Yeah.
Is he bi or gay?
I don't think...
Can he be straight and enjoy pegging?
I think that straight men can absolutely enjoy pegging because it's the universe's big joke that they're going to put man's G-spot in his ass. But it's a point of pleasure that's just amazing, and it's one of the best ways for men to achieve multiple orgasms.
Now, we know that because obviously there's the prostate, and this is a reality.
Yeah.
But at what point does it become bi?
I think when you're asking for like a real big dildo and you really want to get like penetrated,
I'll tell you my opinion.
Then I think then it becomes a little bit of a bisexual thing.
This is when it becomes bi.
Yeah.
When you're getting pegged, but you're thinking about a guy doing it.
Fair enough.
If it's like a blowjob.
Yeah.
A woman can give a guy a blowjob. A guy can give a guy a blowjob. When does the guy become bi? Are automatically a guy that gets a blowjob from a guy, is he bi? Not necessarily. If he's in jail, for instance, and he's closing his eyes and he's thinking about a woman, he's actually not bi. He's a straight guy taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
So my opinion, and I'm not saying your opinion is wrong or it's not justified. My opinion is if you're getting pegged by your girlfriend, your wife, a female, and in your mind,
you're thinking of
either
a man.
There is no sex, meaning it's a dildo, you could be doing it yourself, it's just easier, then you're really not necessarily bi and definitely not necessarily gay. if you're thinking the person doing it is a guy, now you've crossed over. Not necessarily into a dark space, but crossed over into being
absolutely.
bi. And that's what guys get like freaked out, because the fact of the matter is medically, women don't even have that that gland.
At most, you'll be able to get some like indirect G-spot stimulation through the ass, but like for the most part, like men are built for anal sex and women aren't.
Think about what you just said, guys. I'm sorry, say that again.
Men are built for anal sex, women are not.
This is turning into a good show. See, you can't say this on WOR radio.
Exactly.
You can only say this on certain shows, and this show you could say it. Say it again.
Men are built for anal sex.
I love it.
Yep.
I'm going to actually take a clip of that and actually put it on a loop.
Yeah.
And play it on
I'll get
YouTube.
shirts printed. It'll be wonderful.
That's great. It is interesting. So you were saying you did workshops on actually pegging?
Yeah. And a lot of the time, like, speaking of bisexuality, I would have to tell men, like, unless you want to say that you're bisexual, like, it doesn't matter. Like, pegging is whatever you want it to be.
It's interesting because the way I do it, I do give the blowjob analogy. Like somebody will say like, "Oh, guy's into pegging, he's gay." It's like, really? So obviously you're gay because you like blowjobs. No, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you like blowjob, you like the feeling of it, right? You like. Well, no, only from a woman. It's like, yeah, but the person pegging is a guy. Yeah, but, okay, so let's say she's not pegging him, but she's playing with his ass, whatever. Yeah, but the minute it's like, no, that's your definition.
Exactly.
And it's kind of a backwards thing. And that's why, it's funny. We talked earlier when we weren't on the air, that, on the FetLife stuff, originally there was, before FetLife, there was 5 or 6 classifications. Then it went, when I got on FetLife, I was like, wow, there's like 15 of them. Yeah. And now there's like hundreds. And on one hand, that's a good thing. Okay? And I say this all the time, and people don't get what I'm saying. But on the other hand, it's terrible. Because the more classifications you have, and I understand it does allow people to find other people so that they could feel good about what they're doing and not feel like they're the only one. But the more classifications you have, the more divisions you set up, it seems.
And it's also another way to feel lonely, because, like, what if you don't find another person that's into that, and then
then you call me, and you come to one of the 5,000 events we run, and you
Someone
find
the whole
somebody's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, we used to say, kidding around, that not only, if you could think of the most strangest alien thing in your mind, not a bad thing, but just to you, something that is sexually alien, like it just doesn't turn you on, not turn you off, but, an elbow.
Yeah.
There's not only people that are sexually attracted to elbows, there's clubs and parties, and this is years ago, there's probably a magazine that's dedicated to it.
Yeah,
now
definitely.
It would be a website dedicated to it.
I mean, trust me, I know better than anybody. I do cam modeling as well, with mostly like a fetish-based, videos and whatnot. And while I'm not necessarily into a lot of the things, like, I get requests for it, and as long as it's not hurting someone else's consent.
What's the strangest thing you ever got a request for? It's okay. You could say whatever you want.
Some guy
as long as it's not something like, children or anything.
Some guy was into
into
giantess porn, which, like, is cool. I'm into, like, looking like an Amazon. But then he was like, well, if you don't have, like, the equipment to do it in, like, a big studio, you can do, like, DIY stuff. And he was like, oh, you can get little fish and, like, crush them between your boobs. I was like, I'm not crushing fish between my boobs. Like,
but I'm sure there's somebody that would.
I'm sure there's someone that would, but
so
I'm not
that was
doing
your
that.
What's it called?
Giantess porn.
Giantess porn.
Yeah.
So in other words, when Attack of the 50-Foot Woman,
exactly,
this
someone
guy would
is
basically jerk off to it.
Exactly.
Wow, because I remember seeing that when I was younger, and it was a much newer movie. I mean, it probably came out 5 years before I was born, but I'm like 10, and it was like it was already considered an old movie. And I'm sorry, it never really turned me on. She was kind of dressed provocatively.
Yeah, like, I would be into that, like, if I was walking around just stomping on dudes, but, like, I'm not crushing little fish.
You have a boyfriend, right?
I do.
And he knows about this fantasy about you walking around stepping
yes,
on people?
He was there when I actually discovered giantess porn. We were watching a documentary.
Brave man.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're both dominants. He knows that he's not going to be the one getting crushed. It's all the other little men in my circle.
The little men in your circle.
They all the ones that get crushed.
next clip features Ralph Sutton and was originally broadcast earlier this year on March 28, 2017. Among other things, Ralph's a sex-positive columnist who writes for a vanilla audience about things they are curious about but afraid to try. And make sure that you listen to his suggestions about sexting, okay? Guys,
He's an expert on sexting. And guys, definitely take his advice, because if you want to have any success at it, you should really listen to this guy.
So we're going to start with sexting etiquette.
Okay, I just want to say it's weird that it's an ice cream flavor, vanilla for normal, but or for, you know, whatever you want to call it, for average is the right word maybe. But there's no other flavor when you don't say like chocolate or Rocky Road or.
Well, you can't. I mean, because chocolate automatically refers to the
Tutti
color
Frutti?
of somebody's
I don't
skin.
Know.
Tutti Frutti would probably sound gay.
Maybe.
Gay to them.
Pistachio.
I don't know. People get. But you're right. That's a good point.
It's odd.
Also, I find it interesting that vanilla, it's not bland. It's
right. It's also the number one flavor in the world.
It's an actual flavor. It's not just cream that's had some sugar in it. But that's the words that are used right now. So we're going to go with it. Actually, I didn't pick the word. It was in the bio that was sent over. So it's on you or whoever gave me that. It could be from my office. Sexting etiquette. For the uninformed, which I'm sure for those people who are over 35 and 40 and don't know what it is, let the audience know exactly what sexting is.
Well, sexting is basically what you use to seduce a woman in the modern age. When you're using your phone, you're not talking to them. You are using text messages, emojis, pictures, whatever you're using solely based on textual communication to seduce a potentially significant other.
So these are obviously not, are these people that you have already met or people you've met online and haven't actually visually?
For me, they all go under that same umbrella.
Got it. Okay. So this could actually, so it's anybody that you haven't actually had sex with.
I think that this, what this article was about, was the idea of how to seduce someone that you haven't been with yet.
Got it. Okay. Because I read the article, which is, it's very interesting. And let me tell you, to me, a lot of it just seems like common sense. But
you would think, sir. You would think.
Right. But it doesn't seem to be a common thing anymore to have common sense. But tell us some of the things, the do's and the don'ts.
Well, I'd say this, that what launched this idea was having a 30-minute argument with one of my best friends saying to him, for God's sakes, stop sending dick pics. That was the thing.
Right.
And not just dick pics right away. Like, first possible moment. The day was that he called me to tell me, and this wasn't even in a sexting situation, but he had gone on a first date. They're sitting in a car together. And the girl says to him, I'm a model. And he says, oh, let me see a picture. And she shows him a picture. Right? He goes, that's a nice picture. He goes, I do some modeling also. Do you want to see? She says yes. He shows her a picture of his dick. And then is surprised that the date did not go well after that.
How old was the girl?
I don't know how old the girl was. Probably in her 30s. He's 45.
Yeah, that's too old. That's too old.
I just think, and then I started.
Sounds like something a 19-year-old.
Right. And I just started having an argument saying, dude, no girl, in my opinion, no heterosexual girl wants to see a penis from some dude she doesn't know. I don't care if it's tremendous. I don't care.
Right.
Unless there's something shockingly weird about it,
right,
which is going to destroy your chances anyway. Yeah, it's ridiculously small. It's bleeding. I don't know.
It has a nipple
on
it.
Then you're going to ruin your chances anyway. Right. But that's the only time. If a girl tells you that she's dying to see a picture of your dick, it's probably not a girl.
Unless it shoots chocolate.
That'd be cool.
Then
or vanilla.
Or vanilla, because vanilla is that was a great comeback. But unless it has like significant flavors that people would want, yeah, it's not exactly.
Yeah, and that's what
I don't get that. Like the whole, but I don't even think gay guys do this to each other.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. The whole thing is so weird. It's just, and also one of the other things I said in the article that I truly believe is that we as men, I think when a girl texts you that you're really excited about, man's initial instinct is to pick up that phone and go, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like,
I read that part.
Just
they
you know
just
what?
Relax.
Go to the bathroom, take a shit, watch a TV show, come back. If she thinks you're the only thing, she's the only thing going on in your life,
You're not interested.
She's not. She's going to lose interest very quickly.
Yeah, it's like when we used to go on dates when we were younger. I'm 10 years older than you, but you used to go on them, and it's like, okay, don't call the girl for about like 18, 24 hours.
Right.
There was like the 3-day rule. You had to wait, and girls would get the call, but they wouldn't answer it.
Yeah.
And it was like this little...
As stupid as it is, it's an unfortunate truth that you have to do it. And a lot of it has to do with just hard wiring of men and women. Women are wired to want a man to be a provider. It's genetics, and I'm sorry, but that's what it is. So it's
a shame you have to apologize for
it. I mean, it just
even
is.
though it's not heartfelt. You got to actually look, I'm sorry, but like, men are not women. They're not wired the same
Exactly.
way.
We are wired slightly differently, and you have to adjust accordingly, or then don't complain. Like, one of my favorite lines I say to one of my friends was, look, if you are happy with your current dating situation, then don't change a thing.
Right, exactly.
But if you think you could be doing better, then maybe try something a little different. Maybe read one of these articles and say, hey, you know what? This goes against what my brain is telling me, but let's just do it and see what happens.
Women read the articles.
Yeah, of course.
And they share it with all their girlfriends.
Of course.
And I always thought the best thing to do would be to find out what articles they're reading and just do what that says, because, I mean, look, bottom line, we're the pursuers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And if you don't do it, and it's funny, like on a swinging point of view, a lot of people outside the swinger world, they kind of just assume like they'll have girls come. We used to have 1-2 girls a week. Now we get 7-8 girls a night. And it's because it's changing.
Solo girls.
Solo.
Yeah.
Or with, 2 girlfriends, not sexual girlfriends, but just buddies who are coming together. And it's more and more common because it's getting more common.
So then you have to change the name. Once they're too common, you can't call them a unicorn anymore.
No more.
Just call them horses.
We're just going to call ponies, which could lead into a whole nother area of sexual talk. But when they do come, we notice that they approach it in a different way, and guys will come and they'll be like, "Oh, you want to go upstairs?" And it's like the woman will be like, "No, I'm okay." It's like, "Well, what are you doing here?"
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Never has a guy gotten laid by saying, "Well, then what are you doing here?"
And that's one of the other things I bring up is that even if a girl cancels last minute on a date, if you say, "God damn it, I had made plans and now I'm going to do these fucking tickets," whatever it is. Just say, all right, cool. Let me know next time. What's going to happen?
You don't want to see her.
Right,
after that,
of course.
But I mean,
the truth is, what's going to be accomplished by you coming off like an angry bitch? Nothing. So just say, all right, that's cool. Let me know next time you're available. And then I would say this, and I've done this. Look, let me meet you at the restaurant. That way, she'll text you when she's there. And then you say, oh, I'm on my way. I'm running late. And that's when I actually leave my apartment. Because if she's already canceled once, I don't want to take a chance.
Yeah, and you'd be right not to at that point. But it happens. How about the ones that are coming late on purpose? Just specifically to
sometimes. But and it's also, by the way, you ride this weird double-edged sword where there's a line that my mother told me when I was a kid that I never forgot, which is, you teach people how to treat you. So I give someone a pass the first time, but if it happens a second time, I don't let it fly. You don't have to be an asshole about it.
It's like the old shame on you. Yeah,
exactly.
Do it twice, shame on me. Yeah, it makes total sense.
Recently on a second date, the girl was 30 minutes late again. And I just said to her, I said, listen, we can sit down and have dinner and I'm fine with hanging out with you. Enjoy your company. But just know this, I'm not doing this again. Because I find that it's too disrespectful to me. We can stay friends. That's cool. But I'm not into this. I get here on time because I want to spend time with you and I value my time as much as I value your time. She started crying at the table.
Really?
Apologized to me. And I had sex with her that night because I don't think she was used to a guy telling her that.
That's like the girl. That's like when similar thing when you ask somebody out and they go, I don't know. Let me let you know. Let me let you know means let me see if something better comes.
Something better. Well, that's also, by the way.
And when I used to get that, when they say let me know, I'd be like, if you can't let me know now, then just forget it because I'm going to make other plans.
Right, but that's the other thing.
And they would get like indignant, but some would be like, okay, that's fair. Give me 5 minutes.
Right.
Because sometimes it's legitimate. Sometimes it's like, I got to see if I can get a babysitter. I got to see if the yeast infection's going to be over by then. But most of the times it's just, well, I want to see. Maybe I'll feel like, doing my hair that night. So I'll put you, I don't want to say, which is nicer than saying yes and then canceling, but still.
The unfortunate truth in this modern age is that you have to realize in the old days, my time of going out to nightclubs and stuff,
The old days.
a girl would get hit on maybe 2 or 3 times a night if they're going out because they're going to bars and whatnot. Now they're being hit on thousands of times a day.
Yeah, that's
by
true.
Facebook, Instagram, Viber, whatever the hell it is. And you have to adjust for that and realize that there's always going to be something better coming along.
So your sexting ways of doing it actually would make the guy stand out more.
Right.
Smart. We actually are going to be going to a commercial in a minute. One more on the sexting thing. Tell me like your main thing that you tell guys after the dick pic. Because that to me is the main thing. Like, don't send the dick.
I wish I had my article in front of me because my brain is a little fried right now. I was drinking with anthrax for the last hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah, I went out on a bar crawl with anthrax.
That's a nice.
Yeah.
Our engineer just got a hard on.
You're an anthrax dude?
I play in a metal band.
Oh, really? That's cool. He plays in a metal
He
band.
just literally got a hard on.
So you're the one black guy in every crowd. That's good to know. There's always one of you.
Which is interesting. On this show, the one person that gave him a hard on was you. Seems that Preston has a man crush on Ralph because they were talking heavy metal and.
Hey, by the way, I just kissed a dude 3-4 days ago, so you may want to step back a little bit, Preston.
So let's get back to some articles you had. You had an article that you wrote about what the average guy, he aspires to this, and I'm talking about threesomes. And you've written articles on it. So let's just start with, when did you experience your first threesome?
Very late in life.
Age?
33. So I think it's later than usual.
No. I don't know if that's later than, considering how many people never have one.
Well, I guess that's true.
You know?
And so the way it happened was very interesting. It's actually, it's probably 35, I think. So I had a girlfriend for 8 years, and we were as vanilla as possible. Not even anal sex, nothing. Just regular sex and blowjobs, nothing else, right? We break up. And a weird thing happened where some girl started messaging me on Facebook. It was really hot blonde. Didn't know who she was. And she starts telling me that she shows me a girl that she has a crush on. And it ends up being my ex-girlfriend. Because we were all in New York. And the girl hated me at this point, my ex-girlfriend. But I said, oh, it's my ex-girlfriend. She goes, oh, my God, I'd love to have sex with the two of you. And I just, because I wanted to have sex with this girl, I said, yeah, I can make that happen. We're still cool. And we were not. And then she called, somehow she got in touch with my ex, and we all met somewhere. We did not get along with that girl. But then my ex-girlfriend and I started talking about if you were bisexual, why did we never do this? She said, I don't know, you never brought it up.
You never brought it up.
And then for the next 3 months, we solely got together to have threesomes. Nothing else.
That's it.
That's it.
See, the secret here is you have to bring it up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
In the first hour.
Yeah, that is my thing now, is that I'm such a believer, is as you get older, you learn these things. Communication is key. And if you're dating a girl for a year and you bring up the idea of a threesome, her immediate reaction is going to be, why am I not good enough for you anymore?
Right, exactly.
But if you bring it up at the beginning, you don't have to try and make it happen in the beginning, because then you're a pervert. But if you bring it up at the beginning, say, this is something that I enjoy, then at least it's on the table.
What do you feel would be how would you go? Let's say you were doing this, you're talking to a guy, he's got a girlfriend. How does he broach it?
So the first thing is this. How long have you been dating? More than 6 months?
Yes.
Sorry, buddy. It's not happening. Your ship has sailed. Really? Unless she's bringing it up to you, your ship has sailed. Because there's no way that's going to end well. Unless if there's been clues all along that you're just too stupid to realize, and now you're noticing every time that, Salma Hayek is on screen, your girlfriend's like, that girl is so beautiful, then all of a sudden, then you're just not opening the window. She's trying to show you that she's interested. If that's not happening, I would say it's time to find another girlfriend, because it's not going to happen.
Or accept the fact that you're going to
Or just exactly. I think that is point number one. Point number two is that you can't go in hard. That's most men, like I said before with the texting, where they want to just jump right in. You got to realize it's got to be done very, very smoothly, very softly if you're testing the water. Again, if it's been discussed at the get-go, it's a whole different ball of wax. But it's when you're delicately going into it. I would ask a girl, what girls do you think are pretty? Like, it's a simple, like, oh, I would say, oh, I think Thor's a good-looking dude. What girl do you think is good-looking? It's a good way to breach the subject. And then just joke around, like, have you ever kissed a girl? It might be fun. You ever do that? You just do it in a silly way, and just one or two, and then move along.
Yeah, don't
like
the
it.
whole thing.
And then the worst thing is like to keep saying, when's this going to happen? Let's try and make this happen. It becomes disgusting and annoying. And you just be like, all this dude wants is a fucking threesome with me.
Right. Which is worse, like you said, once they get into the 6-month area where it's just in that.
And then the thing I always say is that when that finally does happen, that first threesome that you have, you've talked this girl into it, you finally got the shot. You have to make sure that your girlfriend is the focus by 1,000%, or this is going to be your only threesome, and you're going to be single tomorrow.
That's what we say to swinger. Like we get approached with the question. The reason why I brought the question up is because I know you did the article, but everything you're saying is exactly what a guy needs to do if he wants to broach the subject of swinging. And the first thing that comes up is always, well, I'm not enough for you. And it's funny, guys don't hear that, but those are the same guys that are assuming when they bring up the swinging thing that it's only going to be with another girl.
Right, of course.
And at a certain point, they get what they wished for. It worked. They had a ball. The woman was into it. He was into it. He got to fuck 2 girls. Life is wonderful until the woman turns around at a certain point and goes, how about another dick?
Right.
And the guy suddenly was like, well, what do you mean? I'm not good. And I've had guys actually say, I've heard them say this, well, it's okay as long as he's not as big as I am.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, dude, like, that's your
concern? Do they like do a measuring before he says, all right, you win, you can fuck her?
I mean, if I was
You're
the woman,
3 centimeters
like, okay,
under, get in there, buddy.
If you could fit it down your throat, then I could fuck. I would throw it right in his face at that point. But it's funny because they beg for it. And my answer is always like, hey, listen, if you're playing with toys with a girl, and it's a big toy. It's bigger than it's. Doesn't that turn you on even more? It's a toy. We tend to tell people like, look at the other people, and it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, but look at them as toys.
Right.
Don't look at them, and that's what you said earlier, where make the girl the center.
Absolutely.
This other person is not part of your relationships.
Ralph makes some really great points, and I hope you guys get a chance to listen to the full episode. You can find that on our website at www.adultsocials.com. We're going to take a short commercial break. I want to thank everybody again for listening in to the 100th episode of The Swinger Lifestyle with Jack Arona.
Hi there, this is Jonesy Cat, the host of Jonesy's Lair. Jonesy's Lair is the hottest weekly Thursday night swinger party, held every Thursday night at New York City's premier swinger club, Bowery Bliss. I take pride in offering all my guests a relaxed yet erotically charged atmosphere, perfect for those looking to take a walk on the wild side. So whether you are someone curious, new to swinging, or a longtime veteran, Jonesy's Lair is the perfect midweek swinger event. 21 and over, couples, single women, and select single gentlemen are welcome to attend. For more information, contact me at www.jonesycat.com. That's JONSIEKAT.com. I hope to see you all this Thursday night.
The next clip features our friends Joe and Shelly from Topless Travel and was originally broadcast last year on July 6, 2016. As many of you know, Topless Travel is the largest travel agency that specializes in swinger trips and cruises. And Jack and I have been lucky enough to go on their cruises, which are such a blast. I can't wait to
Yeah, actually one's coming up in November, right?
November, so it's super exciting.
We don't know if we're going to be able to make it to this one. It's
but
hard to
we're
get
gonna
away,
try.
but I'm telling you, anybody out there that is looking for a great party, Topless Travel, contact them. Tell them you were sent by Jack and Jill, or just contact us and we'll hook you up.
Check out the next clip and enjoy.
Most of your cruises, they're couple cruises,
well,
right?
All of the lifestyle cruises out there that are, in fact, deemed lifestyle cruises or swinger cruises, they are couples only.
But what would happen
However,
if 2 women wanted to come as a couple?
We actually don't permit. A couple is defined as
man and a woman.
1 man, 1 woman. However, about 10%, I mean, I'm going to use that loosely, about 10% of the ship. If there's 1,500 cabins, 3,000 people, say 100 to 150 cabins, bring a third person. Of that, say 100.
So triads are cool.
Triad. So
Does that have to be a woman?
No.
Oh,
let's just say 100 couples bring a single or a third.
right.
About 80 of them will be female, and about 20 will be male, and that's
Right.
just the trend. Now,
I
they
didn't know that. So triads are allowed.
Well, you have to be in a cabin that can accommodate more than 2 people, which they have, like
Right,
what they call
obviously.
Pullman beds. They don't have to sleep in that bed. It just the cabin
it.
has to accommodate it legally, and they have to be responsible for that third party.
Obviously.
So if the woman or man, third party, misbehaves in a playroom or in anywhere on the ship,
They're all 86.
all 3 are 86.
Got it.
So
Which is, you got to make sure who you're bringing on there.
absolutely, and they're responsible for it.
So in other words, the smart thing for a couple to do would be to hook up with some soul lonely guy and have him pay for the whole fucking trip so that he can get on the trip.
Interesting that you know the businessman and you fix that.
I don't know.
Generally speaking,
that seems to be the way it would go.
generally speaking, the couples pay for the single. Generally,
Well, I would
speaking.
imagine that would be the way it was with the woman,
With the-
because
with
that's
the
just the
women.
way of life.
And a lot of times
but,
with the man.
no offense to Shelly. By the way, there is a person in the room named Shelly, which is the female half. Shelly, like Jill, handles all the geek work, but is still like hot looking, like Jill. So they don't look like geeks, but they have the mentality of geeks, which allow people like me and Joe to do the work we do. That is to, like, take up all the time doing all the talking. So I do want to point out that Shelly is here. So please, Shelly, say hello so they know you're in the room.
Hi, everyone.
And Shelly is responsible, as Jill is, for all the technical stuff and making sure that they're operating in such a way that they're not doing stuff on little sheets of paper, that everything is computerized. So this is their relationship is very similar to ours. She's much younger, like Jill is, and she is the geek in the relationship. So I just wanted to point that out because you are saying over and over. And
not only is she the geek, she is the CFO of Bliss Management, and she's our controller in Topless Travel. This woman never, ever, ever makes a mistake on money or numbers.
Interesting. See, I handle all the money for the company, but she handles all the technical stuff. So what the fuck do you do?
I do business development.
Oh, okay. You do interviews. That's it. See, that's what I want to do. I want to graduate to the point where I just do this show and that's it, and just let her do everything. I actually handle the money end of it, but
the money.
You're the big picture guy.
I conceive of how to make the money, but Shelly keeps track of it very carefully, better than I ever would.
Interesting.
She has an account.
That's the one thing where we're a little different. I handle all the finances. In fact, which is interesting because Jill is known for being cheap.
I'm known for being cheap.
Not with her friends and relatives and family and stuff like that. No. But as for, she'd rather spend 20 hours working on a project than spend $100 to get. And I'm like, isn't your time worth more than $5? Well, I would have just been sitting here. It's my off time anyway. It's like, yeah, but I'd rather you not do that and have that time to
relax.
Go to a party with me, or make me a sandwich. We could have a real relationship here and not be worried 20% about saving the company. Yeah. So it's funny because she's great with money in that way. I mean, she's I have to force her to spend.
I'm cheap in the big picture. For example, we needed beds for the ship. We needed 120 beds for the ship.
They didn't have beds?
For
playrooms. For the playrooms.
Our playrooms, we had to come up with some methodology. We can't use their mattresses. They're in the cabins. So we developed areas on the ship for play. And we had 120 beds for our playroom. We jobbed that out to someone, and they came back. You could buy mattresses from Mattress Firm as a wholesaler for a hotel, but then you get a few uses out of them, and they're ruined because of cloth. So we were looking at people that we contracted were looking at gym mats and all kinds of things.
Right.
So we're talking about $100,000 in gym mats.
Yeah, they mount out. Yeah.
I went out and sourced out particular various types of foam, particular types of material, and upholstery shops to make these things.
So you just made your own.
So I contracted it all out. I contracted the foam. I contracted awning material that has Kevlar in it, but is soft to touch. And I contracted an upholstery.
And you could hose it down.
An aircraft and marine upholstery company. And instead of paying $110,000 for mats, we paid $30,000 or $35,000.
Which is significant.
So, big picture cheap I am.
Everything you just described is what Jill does. Everything. I say, listen, by the way, honey, I'm thinking we need to get some kind of mattresses. And then she just like runs with that. I count the money. Then she'll come to me and say, well, this is what it's going to cost. And I go like, all right, so this is what it is. This is going to be 30. That's going to be 100, but this is going to last us 5 times longer. But are we even going to be in business 10 years? You know what? Let's go with the cheaper one. In 2 years, we'll buy new ones, blah, blah, blah. But she does all that research. She's good at that.
For example, we spent $40,000 in sound and light rentals on the last cruise.
Yeah, we just discussed that at dinner.
I just bought 20,000 watts of sound equipment for under $20,000.
Perfect example. This club, when we opened this club, the estimate for the sound system was going to be $6,500 for the whole club. Understand, well, this isn't a major dance club.
Right.
It's nothing like Caligula or a dance club. That's a dance club. But it was going to be about $6,500. She brought it in for $1,700. The whole building.
Right.
Done. Why? Because the board that I saw that was going to be $1,500, she got for $300, used through somebody else, which she went in and changed the fuses on. I don't know what she did, but it worked. So I appreciate that part of the business because I'm more of the person who just says, listen, just buy it. We'll make the money back.
But the other thing that I do that Shelly is unbelievable. She could run this business without me for sure, but the business would never grow because her global picture is not the same as mine.
I don't think it's a competition. You're a team.
No, we're a
that's
team.
what it
We
is.
have different strengths. I say that often. If Shelly, had an accident and couldn't come to work or something happened to her, I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
That's why we have a huge key man insurance policy on her because they would need to hire many people.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling.
With me,
believe me, I know it.
We look at I look at projects and how to make money on a project, and we implement that project, and Shelly puts it up on the web, and then I get it sold, either myself or by my sales.
You're the salesman.
Yeah.
Which is important. I mean, listen, I do the Swinger 101s. I do the radio show. Now, we just had dinner. Jill was there. The 4 of us had dinner. We had a nice dinner. She talked. She wasn't quiet. And she's come on this show.
Talked to Shelly.
And they talked and did their thing while we were bullshitting on the side. But the point of the matter is she wouldn't be comfortable hosting this show. She can't get up in front of... that's not her. Right. So it helps that I have the big fucking mouth, and she's the one that has the mind that's able to figure out how to save us X amount of money on our computers. Or do all the programming, yeah. I just hate it that, to a certain point, I'm usually, I don't know if this is Shelly, but I'll say to her, listen, just buy the program. Spend the $1,000. Don't spend 600 hours to save the $1,000. Go spend that money. It's funny. Sometimes she'll come to me. She'll listen, I had to buy this software thing. It's an add-on for this, and I'm like, I don't need to know this. How much was it? $79. Why are we having this conversation?
Right, buy it.
Just I don't even want to know about it. Tell me it was that you bought beer for the staff. I would just be. That's as much. I don't need to know.
Right.
You spent $79. Go ahead. But the opposite, there are people that you're not that blessed, where they just be spending the money left and right.
We're an excellent team. We've got strengths. Each of us has strengths that mesh well, and we do events in hedonism. 9 events a year at Hedonism Jamaica, and we do events in Costa Rica each year. We do a specialty trip that's considered a bucket list trip. Things like going to see the pyramids or the Taj Mahal or an African safari. We do that once a year with people that want to do a bucket list trip that are lifestylers. It isn't a lifestyle trip. It's a bucket list trip.
But the people on the trip are basically
because
swingers.
if you wanted to go to see the Great Migration in Africa and you looked online, you would end up on a tour with families or at a camp with kids and what have you. So we do this once a year.
So you're saying when you do these trips, nothing's going on?
No, people do connect. but we don't have a playroom or we don't facilitate it. But people always connect.
Right, exactly.
You know?
And I think that's important, that even if they don't connect, just to be around other people. It's not all, I mean, you know how many parties, I mean, I don't know about you guys, I'm assuming this is the case. How many parties do you go to, events do you go to where you don't get laid? Not because you don't want, not because you can't,
right,
but because you choose not to. The last, I talk about this all the time. We went to Vegas Exchange, the first one, at the Palms. We fucked each other. We didn't play with anybody else. We didn't feel like, because it's weird, because you're running into people that you know,
that you're
and
clients,
that are people who make you a lot of money, and quite frankly, some of them you don't want to sleep with, and some of them don't want to sleep with you. Right. So it's not like we're better. It's not about that. And you're looking, and then this person has a certain amount of power, and it's like, you know, your wife looks at you and says, "Oh, no, I'm not." So you better sometimes just say, "You know what? We're not going to play with anybody."
Right.
That's our policy in our own clubs.
Same
We never
us.
play. How do you tell one person yes, 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 and then no, 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 and then all those no's say, "Fuck you! I'll go to another club." You know, you just insulted my wife because you didn't want to. And it's like, what are you going to sleep with everybody?
No.
So,
and we don't play with their clients because it's bad business.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's basically uncomfortable. You know, obviously there are rules made to be broken. Sometimes you break a rule. Sometimes things happen. But it is funny. I mean, you got to admit, most of the swingers I know that are in the business swing, but they don't generally do it in public or at their own events.
Right.
And if they are, then they just basically, you know, they basically get a rep to be like, well, we'll fuck anybody type of thing.
Right.
Which isn't a safe thing to have anyway.
Correct.
So how do you turn people down that are constantly coming on?
Well, we tell people up front, like I had somebody in Costa Rica just last week when Shelly had to go home, and I was managing the second half of that could be managed with one person. And the husband wanted me to go take care of the wife while he watched. And I said, look, I said, you guys, I find you attractive and what have you, but we have a policy not to play with our clients. It just becomes an awkward situation.
It's very awkward.
So,
do you know how many people we've had at the beginning? We used to have people come to the club and they thought they should be let in for free.
Because you slept with them.
Because I slept with them. And some of them legitimately so, like we would let him for free. But I had an ex-partner who remained nameless in one of the first clubs that we have. They would constantly play with couples coming in, and then the next week they'd want me to let them in for free. Well, over the course of a year, there was like 25 couples coming in for free.
Every Saturday night.
Who were all couples that who they met at the events that I brought them in. So suddenly, here's a couple that's been to 10 parties, and now they don't pay for a party anymore because you blew them. Or they blew you, or whatever. It's like, that's not business. That there's a reality there.
Correct.
You know, like we go to role play, and we say this all the time. We go to, let's say, Saints and Sinners. We'll go, and half the people in the room we might know. But that's okay. We'll meet somebody, and then we'll go back to our place. And obviously, there are people we meet here that we've already played with, but we're not going to play in that situation. It's just bad business, I think.
Don't shit where you eat.
Don't shit. I don't like to use that because it makes it sound like it's a bad thing to have the sex. It's but yes, you know, you don't want to be in that situation. It's very, very uncomfortable to tell somebody. It's not for the people you want to do it. It's what do you tell the people that you really don't, you don't feel that way. And that's another thing. People, and you kind of come across this, they assume that because you're a swinger, you'll fuck anything. When in reality, you actually get... No, but think about this. You actually get more picky because you have so much to choose from.
Yes.
You're not a single guy that like is out cheating on his wife and anybody that'll give him a piece of ass he's going to fuck. No, we have choices.
Right.
So you get even more choosy.
We've been in this 20 years. So... Right. I mean, tell them how it used to be. But you know,
well, you started... You were sluts, you're saying.
Right. When we first started, it was new and exciting, and sure, I mean, the level of the crowd that we were with, the circle of friends,
in our 20s and 30s,
different,
and everybody was in their 20s and 30s.
A different connection with them, and we've gone through different phases within the lifestyle of involvement, of what our likes or dislikes were. It just evolved. Now, of course, with the business, but also just being in it for so many years, I don't need to fuck everything that walks past me.
Exactly.
No truer words have been said. I don't need to fuck everything that walks past me. That's priceless. We're going to make some shirts with some of the catchphrases from all these episodes. We're going to take another quick break, give everybody time to go to the bathroom, and we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, Rebecca Clark here, but my friends call me Becca. I'm the proud founder of Curvy Encounters, which was started to offer plus-size women a place to meet and interact in a pressure-free, non-judgmental environment. From our vanilla meet and greets to Curvy Fling, the Northeast's most popular BBW swinger party, my staff and I work hard to make sure that all of our guests have a great time. Whether you're a plus-size model, a career woman, or a single mom, all Curvy Encounter ladies have one thing in common: class. So if, like me, you're a BBW or a gentleman who's into sexy plus-size women, contact me at curvyencountersnyc.com. That's curvyencountersnyc.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hey everybody, we're back. Thank you so much for joining us through our journey and for the 100th episode of The Swinger Lifestyle with Jack Arona. We're heading into our second hour, and I hope you're still interested, so stick around for this exciting event. If you want to go back and listen to any of the full episodes from any of these clips, they're all available on our website at www.adultsocials.com.
The next clip features Efrain Gonzalez and was originally broadcast last year on August 9th, 2016. Efrain has been a big part of the BDSM community for decades. Lately is a licensed NYC tour guide and has been running photo-illustrated walking tours on the history of the fetish world, primarily in Manhattan's old meatpacking district. So check out the next clip for a little more history on what New York used to be like.
You know, you're a pretty well-known photographer. A lot of people in the BDSM community know you, especially the older timers. When did you, I want to talk about the photography first, not the fetish end, but just the photography in general. When did you first start getting into photography?
In high school.
And you turned it into a career, obviously.
Some people say I have a career. I tend to say that my photography is more like obsessive-compulsive behavior.
But it actually feeds you something.
Yes,
right?
It does. It does.
I mean, which is a nice thing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that claim to be photographers, and then they'll say, oh, well, you know, I'm a starving artist. And it's like, no, you're just an out-of-work artist at that point. So you actually have taken your art and turned it into something that has made you money. And it's funny because you're known in the BDSM community, the fetish world, as a photographer. I mean, you didn't in high school start going, you know, you didn't automatically get into that. How did you get it into focusing your talent that way?
Driving a taxi cab, you get to go through all kinds of neighborhoods in New York City, especially Greenwich Village and the meatpacking district. So you would see all the tranny hookers and the leather daddies and the gay boys.
Back in the 80s, right?
Back in the 70s. This
70s.
Back in the 70s when I was driving a
taxi. So
taxi.
back when Taxi Driver came out, the movie.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes, exactly. They still had the posters on the wall at the time when I was living in the East Village. And driving a taxi cab, you get to see all these people in places. And you see the leather daddies going to like the Eagle or the Spike. And
not familiar with those two.
Oh, those were gay leather bars.
Gay leather bars, okay.
Those are gay leather bars. And that's how it began. You get to see these places, and then one thing led to another. And I began finding other places like the Eulenspiegel Society.
I'm aware of that. Go ahead.
And
tell us a little bit about that.
I began going to the Eulenspiegel Society in the early 80s. And one night in 1982, they had a meeting in a little place in the meatpacking district. And we go down the stairs and we go into a place called the Hellfire Club.
The infamous or famous Hellfire.
This was my first exposure to the Hellfire Club. And I'm walking around and I'm seeing people walking around naked and getting spanked. And there was a wedding going on. Some guy in tattoos was being married to some girl in negligee. And there were back rooms and people were doing naughty things in the back room. And
did they actually have... I'm just curious, back then I'm talking about, because today it's a little bit different with a lot of the true fetish clubs like paddles. Did they allow sex at
yes.
Hellfire?
Up until 85, they allowed sex in the Hellfire.
Oh, so they put it out the same time when the regular swinger clubs ended up getting closed down.
Yeah, well, the city began shutting down a lot of places like
Bathhouses.
Anvil, bathhouses. What Lenny and Frank did was they shut themselves down so the city couldn't get them. They tore out the back rooms, they tore out the glory holes, reopened with a no-sex policy. So you could fist somebody, spank somebody, put needles through their nipples, but you couldn't have sex on the floor like you used to.
So no blowjobs, but fisting someone's ass was okay.
Well, that's not sex, really, is it?
Depends on who you're talking
Yeah,
to.
I mean, if you're a proctologist, you're just doing a medical exam.
There you go. Interesting. And you actually were in a position to actually photograph a lot of the stuff, which I also find kind of interesting because now, there's usually a camera no policy, at least at the swinger clubs, and I know you can't walk around taking pictures of paddles, for instance.
In the early days of Hellfire, there was a strict no-camera policy. A lot of people were afraid of cameras. Even on parties where they allowed me to take pictures, sometimes I would be threatened by people who saw me taking a picture from across the room.
Because they were in the background of it.
Yeah, they weren't even in the background, but they were afraid.
Yeah.
Then in the 90s, things began becoming more liberal, and you had larger and larger parties going on, and people would be taking pictures all over the place. Michael Prince was the official Hellfire photographer. He had a big camera and a flash, and he would take pictures of all kinds of things. He died in 2005, and no one seems to know what happened to the incredible collection of photographs that he had.
Oh, that stuff just died with him? Really?
I think his wife may have it buried somewheres.
You should maybe reach out, especially for some of the stuff. We're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. But I first want to say your background. I mean, you're part of the fetish world, actually,
yes.
as a member of the BDSM community, not just with the photography. How do you self-identify?
Well, people ask me, are you a bottom or a top? And I always say, I'm an artist.
I'm an artist. Okay.
I'm mostly a top.
Is that like a cool way of saying a switch? Or?
Yes, I suppose it would be a cool way of saying I'm a switch because I photograph everything. And I experience everything. I've experienced being on the bottom, and I've experienced being on the top. I prefer being on the top, but I mostly prefer being behind the camera, taking pictures of wonderful things going on.
Now, do you actually get off on that? Really?
Being able to capture a perfect photograph is beautiful.
Okay. So let me ask you this question, because I know you've been around a while, and I mentioned earlier I actually grew up in the Village, so I know a lot of what was going on even as a kid, because you learn about these things, you read about it in local newspapers like The Villager, for instance, would have articles about some of the local clubs. And the neighborhood, the actual people from the neighborhood were kind of down on these places, but being a younger, let's say a teenager, we thought it was very fascinating. The term BDSM, which is what the community's called, and that encompasses a lot of different things. I mean, it's pretty much a generic, large, like saying the gay community, for instance. What would you call it back then? Because it wasn't called BDSM.
Back then, it was called the kink organization.
Kink went back that far, huh?
Kink or leather.
The leather community,
or just bondage without the BDSM. It's the bondage community.
That's interesting because I remember being a kid. Well, I wasn't that young then. I was about 20 when Cruising came out, the movie.
1980.
And exactly. And when it came out, it wasn't really to the world, not to the real community itself, not to the insiders, but it was really considered a gay film. It was about gay people. But it wasn't. It really covered the fetish community, the kink community. Granted, the gay part of it, but, a lot of the places they were talking about were not really gay clubs. Some of them were actually just fetish clubs where you had that crossover. And it seemed that in the fetish world back then, it was kind of more acceptable, regardless of whether you were gay or straight or bi. It was the kink part of it overtook it. Would you agree with that? That was, or was there actual separation to this was a gay kink place and this was a straight kink place and so on and so forth?
You had gay kink places. You had, I wouldn't say straight kink places because, places
some guys
like Hellfire,
fisted.
You had everything going on, but they were in such close proximity to each other. It was like a cross pollination. So yes, you had the Lure only had gay men, and the Mine Shaft only had gay men, but we were friendly towards each other because we're all into the same thing. We're all into like finding our
you
own
kind of
self.
dress the same walking in the street too,
Oh, yeah.
so you wouldn't really know by look. Somebody's wearing leather chaps, and it's like, oh, is he a gay leather chap person or a straight leather chap person?
Exactly.
They kind of blended into each other a little bit. I mean, that was a time where it was funny because, not funny, but interesting, is you could tell somebody just by the way they were like, how they were dressed, where they were going, which is kind of changed a little bit, unless people are actually in costumes. I mean, would you, let me ask you this, the cruising movie, did it impact clubs like Hellfire, you think, negatively or positively?
There was a lot of negative publicity about the movie Cruising. The gay community.
Oh,
basically,
I remember that. No,
yeah.
I'm not go. Let's not. That's a whole other question. I'm saying, forget about the gay community coming out against the movie. I remember all the protests. I'm talking about the. Do you feel that the clubs, whether it be gay or straight, did it bring more people? Did it make it more acceptable, or eventually, or did it
made
hurt
it more visible?
Okay.
It made it more visible, and people were more curious, and they would want to find out about this. Oh, look at this movie! Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I didn't know that existed there. So all of a sudden, the meatpacking district became sort of a critical mass for all these kink events.
The reason I ask is that sometimes the most negative publicity actually, in the long run, turns around. I mean, you remember the classic Reefer Madness. I don't know if you know, but
yeah, I saw that.
Now, there's an actual theory that Reefer Madness, as whacked out as that movie was, actually did the opposite of what it was intended to. It made more and more kids actually try pot because they were looking at the movie going, this is stupid. But yeah, I want to try a joint and see what's going to happen. And it actually made more people, and within 10 years of the movie coming out, made it more popular. So it actually did the exact opposite of what the intent of the movie was, if that makes sense. Do you feel cruising might fall into something like that?
Something like that. Cruising sort of worked on the angle of the S&M community and the S&M community in the meatpacking district. So that sort of like amplified what was going on. It's
Like a lot of people wouldn't even have known it was there to the outsiders.
And then William Friedkin made a movie, and boom, there we are.
I mean, big director, too. It's funny because the movie actually didn't do that well back then, but it got so much free publicity from all the people, going out and, and protesting against it, primarily from the gay community. I remember this because I grew up in Community Board 6, which is the community board of these clubs in the whole meatpacking district because it went up to 14th Street. And I remember them having meeting after meeting, and they were talking about, this cruising movie. I think the movie would have came and went and nobody would have even noticed it. It would have been out for 3 weeks. It would have been gone.
If it was done today.
But because there was so much negative publicity on it, it actually, I think, in the long run, actually helped. Not necessarily helped the community, but made it more accessible.
Yes.
Would you agree? Because then it became kind of like, it's just another thing, like, whatever.
Yeah, everyone would see the movie and say, I think I'll go down there and find out what's going on.
I mean, that might have been the precursor to the death of the area, according to certain people, where now it's like very gentrified and it's not, this cool, gritty scene. Now you have like Prada and, places like that.
Well, we tend to blame that on the death of William Gottlieb. He owned huge tracts of land down there. When he passed away, his family began to flip. And I remember once in the year 2000, I was walking down 14th Street and I look up and I see there's a boutique on the corner. Oh, my God, it's got fresh paint. Who ever heard of fresh paint in the meatpacking district?
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of interesting when you watch this stuff. One of the last films I saw that showed the old meatpacking district would be 8mm, the film 8mm.
I haven't seen that.
Look it up. It's a pretty good, cool film. It's about snuff films. And it's a very interesting film, but I'm not even talking about from the content of the movie. It shows a lot of those, what I kind of consider the girl TV show that all the women used to watch, that because she lived in that area. It'll come to me in a second. There was a really hot
Sex in the City.
Sex in the City. And I don't know why I blanked on that, other than I never watched the show.
Neither did I.
This was all prior to that.
Hi, this is Jill from Adult Socials. I want to take a few moments to talk to all the ladies out there. Are you a female that is curious about swinging and alternative lifestyles? Do you feel nervous about walking into a swinger party by yourself? Are you and your partner looking into swinging but you have a lot of questions? Or maybe you're a female swinger just looking to make some like-minded friends. Whether you're in a committed relationship or single, Girls Night Out is a great place to start. Girls Night Out is a 2-hour, female-only, non-judgmental meet and greet hosted by veteran swingers like myself. Held 2 Fridays each month, our mission is to allow the ladies a chance to meet and discuss the swinger and alternative lifestyles in a relaxed, male-free environment. Girls Night Out is perfect for veterans, newbies, or even those just curious. To learn more about Girls Night Out, including how to make a reservation, call 917-558-3520 or visit adultsocials.com. I hope to see you at the next Girls Night Out.
Hey everyone, Rebecca Clark here, but my friends call me Becca. I'm the proud founder of Curvy Encounters, which was started to offer plus-size women a place to meet and interact in a pressure-free, non-judgmental environment. From our vanilla meet and greets to Curvy Fling, the Northeast's most popular BBW swinger party, my staff and I work hard to make sure that all of our guests have a great time. Whether you're a plus-size model, a career woman, or a single mom, all Curvy Encounter ladies have one thing in common: class. So if, like me, you're a BBW or a gentleman who's into sexy plus-size women, contact me at curvyencountersnyc.com. That's CurvyenCounters NYC.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
The next clip features Pup Scrubs. That's right, Pup Scrubs, and was originally broadcasted last year on October 26, 2016. Pup is a member of Human Pup Play, and as he puts it, is a biped alpha pup. You're going to really enjoy this one, so listen in.
I know there are conventions out there, and I want people to talk a little bit about this. We're not talking about like cosplay. Cosplay, am I pronouncing that right, Miss Jill?
Yeah.
Cosplay, and we're definitely not talking about furries, which we talked about on the show before. How does it differ, let's say, between human pup play and, let's say, the furry world?
Well, I'm not a furry, so I can't speak with any great specificity, but I do know some. And there are, from what I understand, there's furries have fursonas. And it's similar but different. And again, speaking just from what I know anecdotally, there is, at least they like to believe there's less of a sexual component to it, that it's more of just a fursona and getting into a different headspace and being something else, which I totally get. But I do also know there are furries that play. So I would have interest in that myself. But from what I've been told, I'd have to tread carefully that human pup play and furries are kind of different things.
No, I
really
agree
can't
that they're
comment any
different. I'm
further
just
than
trying
that.
to wrap my head around how they're different and more bring it up for the
From
audience.
what I understand is that as a furry, it's more of a personality, a fursona. So you want to be something else and act like something else and interact with people as that person. But again, as like a real person. Say, here is my fursona. I'm going to interact with you as that fursona, as sexy fox or whatever it may be. And there's much, at least on the surface, is much less of a sexual component. Whereas with pup play, it's very, even if you don't play sexually, there's still a very physical component to it. It's a very popular thing with human pup play is moshing, where pups will get together and they'll just kind of get on all fours and just tangle with each other. And
Did you say moshing?
It doesn't. Moshing, yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. So the pup play is kind of ingrained as a subculture of the BDSM leather community. So most of the pup events that I go to are a sub-function of larger leather events. Although there are pup events, like in St. Louis, there's an International Pup So that contest was early this year, and I enjoyed going out to St. Louis, and it was exclusively a people pup event.
How many, how many people turn out for something like that?
Oh, geez, had to be 100 of us.
Got it. So they're more intimate type of smaller conventions, as it were.
Yes.
Where would this be held? Something like this. I mean, do you take over a hotel, or how does it, or is it on like private property? How's it usually handled? That type of a thing.
All of the above. So when it's a subset of a larger leather event like IML or MAL or CLAW or something like that, they take over the whole hotel, and then they'll be everything from just puppy events to one event I like to go to in Ottawa, Canada. They have a pup area for the entire weekend. So they actually have a pup space where pups can go and pup out whenever they want for the entire weekend, and that's a lot of fun. And then the larger, like IML events, they'll actually have like ballrooms and have these huge pup events, but just for a shorter period of time.
It's interesting. You said they like to pup up or pup out.
Pup out.
Pup out. I like that. I like that. Like you actually take the word and put it into a lot of phrases because it does explain exactly what it is, at least to people. Now, how much time? I'm not talking to the actual pup right now because you're speaking to me. You're not barking, obviously. How much time do you spend? Let's call it as a regular Joe, and how much time do you spend as an actual pup?
It's an important and fair question, and I would have to say that I actually spend most of my time as a pup. I mean, I self-identify as a people pup, but I'm not in pup headspace very much. So I would say most of the time I just kind of walk around with my collar. I'll go to the grocery store, or I'll interact with my friends, and I even sleep with my collar. So I always have my collar on. The only time I take it off is for business. And so if I'm doing a video call or some kind of in-person business transaction, then I'll take my collar off because it's kind of inappropriate in that space. But any other time, I have my collar on. It's one of the first things I do when I sort of get done with work or business of any kind. So I am a pup. I self-identify as a pup, and I live that kind of lifestyle, and it's kind of the way you think most of the time. But the really intimate headspace that we talked about, like when I put my leather pup hood on, that certainly is more of a once or twice a month kind of thing. And, it's very intense and very pleasant when you get to do it. But there's a little bit of it that stays with you throughout your day.
Now, do you have the collar on right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually.
So, here's something that I'm curious about. Relationships, okay? We had spoken, you self-identify as homosexual, and you're married, correct?
Yes.
Now, you had mentioned to me, and stop me if I'm wrong, but like your spouse is not, I mean, he's your spouse. He's not, are you always in a pup head set when you're with him, or are there times when he takes on the persona, or is he just not part of it at all? How does that work out in your human relationship, for lack of a better term?
Well, our marriage is more of a functional institution, but he accepts me for who I am. He met me and knew I was a pup when we met. It's certainly not something that we do much together. But, as I kind of described it to you earlier, it's kind of like dogs have owners and they have handlers. So my husband is more like my owner. And then my pup friends would be more like my handlers.
Oh, okay. So you have an owner. So you'd only have one owner, obviously, unless it was a couple, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And then handlers would interact with you. Would the handler and some of them might be just platonic handlers and some of them are sexual handlers, or it might have a sexual connotation to it, correct?
Yeah, it could be either or.
So
absolutely. And people, so most people, it's kind of like a delineation between, you can tell someone's my friend or that we're good friends if they refer to me as pup. So even heterosexual people I met, or people that might have no idea of it, I walk around wearing a collar. So even if they don't ask the question, inevitably they're thinking it. So, I introduce myself to people as Pup Scrubs. And it's only in a business environment where I'm not wearing my collar where I would actually give people my human name.
Got it. So this is something that is a large part of your overall life. It's not something that it's not like you're going bowling twice a month. You're constantly, if it's not up front, it's in the back of your mind on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So although the intense play part of it, which a lot of people might focus on, might only be once a month, it's part of you throughout the month and every day that you do.
The next clip features Word is Life and was originally broadcasted last year on July 6th, 2016. Will, for short, has been writing erotic literature since he was 15 years old. It's an interesting clip, so stay tuned.
And we're back. If you're just tuning in with us, we have Will, Word is Life, with us. I'm going to put you on the spot now, and I know you're not really super prepared, but I want you to take a minute. I want you to give us a sample of your work. Just, maybe a 2-3 minute soliloquy.
All right, well, this is a story I wrote just recently. This is kind of on the funny side of erotica, while also being on the sexy side. It's called Side Effects May Include, and it starts like this. Alice ground her slippery cunt lips against the edge of the office chair, just far enough under her desk to keep discreet. Her hands were sweaty and shaking as she struggled to read the label on the orange vial. Side effects may include drowsiness, weight loss, minor dizziness, slight pain or tingling in the extremities. She chuckled at the last one. I don't know if tingling is the right word or if a pussy counts as an extremity, but it probably should, because right now there is no part of me that feels more extreme. Alice was 5'5", with blonde hair, flat tummy, slim waist and hips she often showed off under a tight pencil skirt and a blouse, with 1 or 2 buttons loosened at the top to let her ample tits breathe. And Alice knew horny. At least 2 men in her building and 3 men from the gym knew it too. She usually got off on something young and meaty, whether a cock or a tongue or a good pair of hands once or twice a week, and on nights alone she treated herself with a vibrator till she had her fill. But right about now, she felt like she needed to grind her clit against the corner of a desk like it was a goddamn coffee bean. See, last week it was her doctor who prescribed her something different for her migraines. New but safe and would balance out her mood swings. He should have mentioned this side effect, you fucking sack of shit. Dave caught her eye as she shuffled past her coworkers on her way to the bathroom. He was tall and thin, with bright blue eyes and a short, wavy brown hair. She thought about fucking him once or twice before, and now she was weighing the risks of actually snapping his dick in half during mid-ride. Hey, Alice, do you think you could send over the latest revisions on those TPS slides when you get a chance? Dave, if you don't shut that wet little mouth of yours and get out of my way, I will wrap my legs around your face and fucking drown you. Alice blinked and realized she only thought those words and didn't say them. Yeah, I'll get on that shortly, she stammered, rushed past him toward the ladies' room.
Nice. You know what you should do, and I'm not saying this from a personal point of view. You should think about doing audios of the stuff.
You know, I have thought
you got a good voice.
Times. Everyone tells me make an audio reel, and
just
I've never
do
gotten
it.
around to it. But I would.
No,
love to.
I'll tell you why. Because if you put it on places like YouTube,
yeah,
and then you put stills up, because you could buy stock stills
right.
that are in, and just put stock stills up that are in. You pay $1 a piece, $2 a piece, and put that up because it's interesting. You have a good voice for it, and I just pictured like around the country. I told you we get a lot of people that listen to the show, over 90,000, and I got a picture. There's got to be some women going, and then what? Like so, and quite a few men and everything in between. So you should maybe think about that. Where do you get your ideas from? I mean, it's interesting.
Right.
Where do you get your ideas from?
Well, a lot of them are from people that I meet and just people I get to know on FetLife. And this story in particular...
Let me just point out one thing.
For sure.
My darling Jill always says I cut off the speakers, but I do want to point out.
Yeah, for sure.
For those of you that don't know, FetLife, F-I-T-L-I-F-E,
is F-E-T.
Oh, wow, I screwed it up.
That's
Thank
all right.
you very much. Well, you're the English teacher.
F-E-T.
You caught me. Wow. I never... The Fit Life.
Right.
No, FetLife for fetish, FetLife.com, is probably the largest fetish site in the world, and it's broadened its base to include a lot of different types of lifestyles, including swinging. So that's what he's talking about when he keeps bringing it up. For those of you curious about it, it's free to join it. Go there, check it out. But go ahead, and I won't cut you off again.
No problem. So I meet friends on FetLife. Sometimes I will glance at pictures or their own writings, and that will just spark an idea in my head. And in this case, a woman I follow on FetLife actually had been prescribed a migraine medication that had increased her already extremely high sex drive, and she just wrote briefly about some of the ideas that came into her head once the medication took effect. And
Really? So she actually related this to you, and you just recorded it.
And her pictures inspire me, is one way to put it. And I said to myself, this is such a great idea. I'm going to make a story out of it. And I wrote a 4-chapter story and shared it with her as just my way of saying thank you for inspiring this idea. I hope you enjoy the story.
I got to tell you, I know you're monogamous.
Yep.
I know you don't cheat on your wife, but what a great fucking come on line.
It's like this is the one area where I get to be free. And it's something that is a ongoing dialogue with my wife, who understands that I have a very creative and very deviant mind. And some of it comes into the bedroom. A lot of it doesn't. But I'm going to say that I'm going to come up with ideas and stories. And I got to tell you, honey, the women in these stories might be based on you. In some cases they were. And they might be based on someone else. Because
how does that work when it's somebody totally different?
She's understanding it in certain levels, in certain rounds, in certain waves. And I mean, one thing I'm trying to convey to her is that my heart belongs to her exclusively. And my cock and my entire sexual persona also belongs to her exclusively, hoping that's going to be an ongoing dialogue, as I expect to be married to her for a long, long, long time, my whole life. But my mind is always going to wander. And my mind is always going to go to, short, petite brunette, or curvy, thick African-American woman, or whatever ideas come to my head. That is an area that needs to always be free.
That's a thing that, like, a lot of men or women get a little, and those people are not the people that should really be getting involved, like in swinging, for instance, because, they get into, like, what's worse? Is it worse to cheat on somebody with somebody that's exactly like you? Same height, same weight, and say, well, why are you just not having sex with me? Like, why are you preferring this other person? Is it just their personality? Is that worse than, I can understand that this person looks nothing like me and is a totally different type of thing. And you know what? After a while, you just might want something different. Mm-hmm. So, but what's the worst feeling,
Well, here's a head scratcher for you. What if I read a story with a character who is like my wife, doing the various things my wife does not do? Is that flattering that I am making her the muse for this, or is it uncomfortable that because there's certain things I'm not getting in a sexual relationship, I create it in a story instead?
That's really interesting.
I don't have an answer
At
for
one
that,
thing, it's actually a great way to bring up to your wife the things you want that you're not getting, and go, well, listen, obviously you're the person in the story, honey. And if I get turned on by you ironing my shirts and cooking me breakfast in bed, and this is what the thing was,
or taking two at one time, staring me in the face.
What it is. Yeah,
that'd be a fun Saturday night. We have dinner, a couple glasses of wine. By the way, honey, I wrote this story. I'm just going to leave you alone with this for a bit. See what happens.
Very interesting. But I just took it as a whole other thing. It's like you're meeting these girls on FetLife, and you're. By the way, I just want to point out, I read your profile.
Yeah.
And it says right there that you're monogamous with. Right. So it's not even like you got to, like a lot of guys cheat on FetLife. They're there to cheat. You're like right out there and you go monogamous with, and it's then the name she uses on FetLife. And her profile has the same thing, monogamous with. So it's almost like for anybody to come onto you or approach you in that way, other than, a little fantasy thing, now they're being pricks.
Exactly.
They're not supposed to do that.
Well,
there are certain lines,
that profile and that monogamous with, etc., came after I engaged in a brief dom sub fantasy engagement with a woman on FetLife, and it was clear that this is just fantasy. This is just us exploring.
So you were cybering,
ideas.
so to speak.
I was what?
You were cybering.
Yes, I was. And then when that was revealed in our relationship, it was not okay. And it had a lot of talks.
And then you stopped.
Exactly. And that was also the time when she joined FetLife and said, let me see this side that you're saying you're not getting in the marriage. Let me see how much of it I can do, how much of it I don't want to do, how much of it I want you to change because I don't think it's healthy. And she's the one who every so often says to me, I think you're reaching that line of unhealthy. I think you're reaching that line of pseudo infidelity. You've got to rein it in and show me how I can bring it out more. And it's been a very healthy exercise with there's been some tears, there's been some terse conversations, but it's been an opening up.
You've seen it mentioned on TV, movies, magazines, and social media. but you would like to know more. I'm talking about swinging. Enter Swinger 101, an introduction into the swinger lifestyle, a 90-minute forum on swinging hosted by Jack and Jill of Adult Socials. Swinger 101 is held twice a month. One forum is specifically for couples, the other is open to both couples and singles. Swinger 101 is free. However, you must be 21 or over and make a reservation to attend. The only other requirement is a healthy curiosity about swinging. For more info, including how to make a reservation, contact us at adultsocials.com. That's ADULTSOCIALS.com. Or call us at 917-558-3520. We'll see you at the next Swinger 101.
Our last clip features LayLa Love and was originally broadcasted earlier this year on April 18, 2017. LayLa has also been a member of the swinger community by way of Florida and even attended one of Joe's Girls' Night Out parties at Bowery Bliss. She has been on the show numerous times and is always interesting to listen to, so stay tuned.
I know you've had a bunch of changes, but I do want to talk a bit, because I've titillated everybody out there with your fake orgasm campaign, without getting into too much detail of, just tell us about that.
Okay, well, basically, I'm a staunch supporter of women. Well, men too, but women are more likely to fake orgasms, and I'm a staunch supporter of...
Wait, slow down. You said men too? When do men fake orgasms?
Men, you would be surprised. Men sometimes do fake orgasms, but not at the rate that women do.
How does a guy accomplish this?
They just pretend that they orgasm. They know how to pretend just the same way women do. Are you saying you've never heard of a man faking an orgasm? Really?
I didn't say that. I just said the woman's got to be kind of like half asleep not to notice if a guy comes or not. I mean, it's much easier for a woman to do it.
Much easier. It is much easier.
Which I never understood the whole concept of that.
I didn't either.
You know what I mean? I understand, not wanting to make the guy feel bad or the woman, if you were a woman, but like, why? I mean, there are plenty of women that don't have an orgasm and they still claim to have a good time, and we know that. And at least that's what we've been bred into believing.
No, that's true.
To make us not want to cut our wrists.
It's true. You can enjoy a sexual experience without having an orgasm. For women, we can. Maybe it is because we've also been bred to believe that we don't have to have an orgasm every time. But I believe you're doing yourself a disservice, you're doing your partner a disservice, and you're doing any of their future partners, which I'm sure you probably don't care about, but I think it's important to pay it forward. And the best thing for you to do in your own sexual history or your own sexual life is to get the most enjoyment that you can. Most partners really do want to please you. Not every partner, but even if it's I tell women at my parties, even if out of a man's own ego, it has nothing to do with you. He might not give a crap about you, but to make himself feel good, he wants you to have an orgasm.
I saw a funny joke. I don't know if you watch Bill Maher at all, yes. But did you watch this last week?
No.
The one before this week, because they weren't on this week. They did a repeat. But he talks about how they did a study and most men are more concerned with a woman orgasming. But why, the way the study was written is why they're interested, and they're not really interested for her pleasure, but it's their pleasure.
Right, exactly.
And he makes a joke, and he says, ladies, if you're on a bus, what do you care how it gets there?
Yeah, exactly.
So why are you getting so concerned on why he's doing it? If he's going out of his way to make sure you come, who the fuck cares why at that point? It's better than the guy that doesn't give a shit one way or the other. And I keep saying he, and I shouldn't, because, you could just be talking about two women too. But this particular study was a male-female study. And it like boggles the mind. It's like, well, why are you trying to make? What's the difference?
What does it matter?
What do I care why somebody's making me something to eat if I want to eat it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Whether it makes them happy to cook for me or whether they just want to make me happy. What? Huh?
Well, that's the thing is that humans, a lot of times we don't do things out of altruistic reasons. A lot of times things that we do has a selfish reason behind it. Even when we help people, there are selfish reasons behind it. So why does it even matter? If they're trying to help you out by making you orgasm and pleasing you, it shouldn't matter the reason. Just let them know what it is that has to be done. Unfortunately, a lot of men don't realize that all women are different the same way all men are different.
different things excite different people. So there might be more stimulation on the clitoris or vaginal stimulation that excites one woman, and the next woman is completely different. It doesn't stimulate her the same way. So
No, of course not.
That's why it's important to, number one, masturbate so that you can learn what pleases you the best. And then that in turn can be relayed to your partner so you can teach your partner what pleases you the best.
You know, it's funny. I know I'm going to get calls and letters and emails, but a lot of this I lay on women because guys will say, "What do you like?" and they don't tell them.
I agree.
And maybe they don't tell them for a host of reasons. Maybe they really don't know, but they don't want to say like, "Look." Whereas a guy will have no problem saying, "No, rub my ball. Do the, oh, do that a little faster. Do it." No problem. If the woman, there are women that use their teeth. Some guys like that. Some guys cringe.
Correct.
So, but just tell the person. And a lot of women, as a guy that's slept with his fair share and everybody, maybe many other people's fair share, a lot of times women will just look at you, even if you've been having sex with them for a while, and they just, it's like you're pressing buttons and just looking for responses. And sometimes it's just a matter of, you know what? You playing with my nipples for 35 minutes is not really doing it for me. But if the last three women were making believe it was cool, you basically fucked it up for everybody else.
That's exactly my issue. And, like you said, first of all, I think one of the major problems is that women don't know what pleases them because a lot of women out there do not masturbate. They do not know where men have been masturbating since they're, 10, 11 years old. They know exactly the stroke, exactly the
It was my
speed,
best friend
exactly, they know what's going to get them off, where women don't always necessarily know that. And that's why, like I said, I think masturbation is first and foremost important. Then you can relay that to your partner, and you don't always have to use verbal cues. Pushing of the head, moving the hand, doing whatever. You can use any of these cues to show your partner what it is that you like, moaning, different things like that. And your partner is going to pick up on those cues and keep doing what it is that you want them to do to bring you to that climax.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because if you're there for that reason, obviously, like, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, I want to enjoy what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting that you said altruistic reasons because in Swinger 101, I have a line in it that says, no, we do not do these parties for these forums for any altruistic reasons. It actually makes us money in the long run. And it's funny because, automatically certain people will be like, well, you're only doing this for this reason. It's like, so what?
So
it's
what? It's still helping people. That's what I don't understand. It really shouldn't matter the motive behind it, as long as there's not some secret, like, mischievous, evil, motive behind it.
Right. If you're not manipulating the person to get something else out of them or anything like that. But I never understood that. It's like, oh, well, you only want to do the dishes for me because you want to make me happy. It's like, well, did you think I actually got turned on by doing the dishes? Exactly. And why can't I have points for that? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, with wanting to do something for your partner. And it's just funny because we get so deep into it. It's like, well, nobody should be doing anything other. Why? I mean, there's nothing wrong. Do you think guys really want to hold the door open? Like it turns us on? Yeah. No, we're doing it because we're trying to be polite, and then there are people who will be like, "Well, I'm strong. I don't need you to hold the door open." It's like, well, yeah, but you were carrying a package. If you were a 6'2" guy carrying a package, I'd still hold the door for you. Like, so in other words, I'm being penalized for being polite.
Right.
People get really weird about this, and especially when you mix in sexuality to it. You get out of it's just strange. I mean, one person likes apples and one person thinks they're the worst thing in the world. And and that's okay. That's what makes life go around. And to assume everybody likes the same thing is tough. But don't assume that just because somebody's doing something to be a nice person, that they're a dick at that point.
Right, exactly. I just think that because we're evolving so much as a society sexually, and women are becoming more sexually free and things like that, that this no fake orgasms is becoming a more important issue. Not that I'm saying it wasn't an important issue before, but it's becoming even more, when you're going to these clubs and men are doing things that their past 10 partners have made them believe is getting a woman off. And I've been in situations where I'm like, there's no way this ever got any woman off. I don't care how different she is than me, but women are leading these men to believe that that's what women like. And I think we can all do each other a favor, especially in the swingers community and all of that, by helping each other out in that way.
It's just so many people lie about this stuff. I have a friend of mine that's listening in right now, and we used to talk about the fact that I'm circumcised, he's not. Mm-hmm. And almost every woman he's ever slept with has told him one of two things. Either I prefer uncircumcised guys or it doesn't matter. And every woman that I've slept with has told me I prefer uncircumcised guys or it doesn't matter.
Right.
Not one person has ever looked at me and said, I prefer uncircumcised guys. And no women have ever said to him, well, you know, I really prefer a circumcised. Never. And I'm going, and we've slept with some of the same people. So how is that possible? It's very simple. They're lying.
Right.
and it's funny because I understand the logic of not wanting to, you know, you don't tell the 5'2" woman that you love and are dating that you prefer a woman who's 5'8" or vice versa.
Right.
You don't do that. You don't tell the blonde, I really like brunettes, and you don't tell the brunette. I got that. But to out and out lie about this stuff, why not just not bring it up? You know?
Right.
And I think the most honest ones are the ones that say, well, it doesn't matter, because in the long run, if you're really into the person, it probably doesn't matter that much.
I agree.
If everything else falls into place. But they won't do that. They'll lie. They'll say, oh, I prefer this. And obviously, as the circumcised guy, I'm going to assume that most women prefer that. But I know it's bullshit.
Right.
And he knows it's bullshit. So it's just a very strange thing. And I think that's a big part of the fake orgasm thing. It's like you're not really helping things.
Right. You're not helping yourself. Again, like I said, you're not helping your partner. You're not really helping anything. And if you don't know what you like personally, you might move on to the next partner and still not know what you like, and you're still not having orgasms. And it's just that's what sexuality is supposed to be about. We are supposed to be enjoying ourselves, and as a woman, we may not have an orgasm every time we have sex, but you want your partner to be in tune with what it is that it takes to have you have an orgasm.
I had a great analogy told to me once. A friend of mine said, he says, women are like when you stay in a hotel room and it's dark and you have a new one you never used before remote control. And it's dark, but you're used to your remote control in the dark, and you start hitting buttons and it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And you're trying to figure it out, but meanwhile there's no light. You have to turn on the light and go, oh, here's the power button, here's the this. And without doing, but you'll sit in the dark and hit buttons randomly and turn it off and change, and you don't know what you're doing. Because every single remote control is different.
It's different, yeah. Even if they have similarities, they are different fundamentally. And the interesting thing I tell women too is that the clitoris is the only organ in the human body that was made solely for pleasure. So if that's the only organ in the human body made solely for pleasure, we better be using it. I mean, put it to good use, right?
True. That is very true. But some women but then again, you'll have guys that'll just concentrate and pinpoint on that, and you know, after a while, it's like, yeah, I got what you're doing, and you're like rubbing it raw, so to speak.
That does happen.
Listen, I think that's where the term came from, rubbing it raw, because it just, and you know, that's a reality. It's like too much of a good thing, and it's just you have to really get into it. So originally, you would bring this up at I know you were doing some toy shows, and you would bring the fake orgasm thing up at them. So how would you approach this? I mean.
It really, I working with Pure Romance. I was doing a lot of sexual health at the shows as well. It wasn't just showing them the toys, because women's sexual health is very important to me. And I would just start with talking, like I said, about masturbation and how important masturbation is. And the reason that it's so important is for you to know what it is that you like. And then relaying that into the fact that I am completely against fake orgasms. And I would tell these women, I mean, I really drill it into their heads that it's something that makes me cringe, fake orgasms, because I think that women are just really doing themselves, like I said, a disservice, and they're doing their partners a disservice. I think that a lot of women think that men just want to have their own orgasm and be done with it, but that's not really the case. Men want to make you feel good. Like we already said, even if it's out of their own selfish ego or reasons, they still want to make you feel good. So let them do it. Even if it takes a little longer, they're willing to most men are willing to put in that effort, that extra 5 to 10 minutes, if that's going to make you orgasm.
Well, I think it's worth the time.
I agree.
Because an orgasm is definitely, I've actually been told, and I've read, and they're like, well, it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to end. It's like, well, for a guy, you know what? it kind of does.
It does.
And
It
there's
does.
nothing wrong with it ending that way every single time. And consider it dessert.
Yes, and the thing
Doesn't
is
mean
that
it's the whole meal, but it's a nice end to it's a nice end to it.
the more you learn what your body likes with orgasming, the easier it is for you to orgasm because you already know what it is that you like. So where the first few times you're masturbating, it might take 20 minutes. By the 10th time, it might only be taking you 6, 7, 8 minutes. I'm speaking from experience.
Let me ask you this now. I know you're going to not be doing the toy stuff for a while. You're switching gears a little bit. From what I want you to tell us a little bit about it. I know that you came from Times Square tonight, where you were painting naked women.
Yes.
Now, is that painting women who are naked, or painting a picture of a naked woman?
Painting actual human women who are naked.
Okay, and this is in Times Square.
We are in Times Square. You can catch
Now,
us.
when you say naked, you're saying topless or totally naked?
They wear thong panties.
Okay. Because I know that you can go topless in Times Square,
You can go topless in anywhere in New York City since 1992.
So, because of the fact that men are allowed to.
Yes.
But there are places men are not allowed to be topless, like restaurants and stuff like that.
Right. Anything that has like a private business that has like shirt, shoes, requirement type of thing, then no, it's the same for men
but
and
public
women.
areas, you're
Yes.
allowed to be topless.
Correct.
We know this. So tell us a little bit about that and, how you got involved with that.
Okay, well, my best friend, Syra, she's been a part of the original Painted Ladies of Times Square. She started about 3 years ago. And there was an innovative man who just saw the opportunity that women are able to be topless in Times Square and that people would want to take pictures with topless women. So he started it about 3 years ago, and the scene has changed a little bit between, I want to say a year or two ago, Mayor de Blasio kind of went on attack on them, and were trying to shut them down and say what they were doing was lewd and turning Times Square to the old Times Square and all this other stuff. Then they created these boxes where all of the street performers are only allowed to be in these certain boxes to accept tips and all this other stuff. So
You're talking about the Spider-Mans.
Yes, everybody who's out there, the Spider-Mans, the Statue of Liberty.
It's not just the naked,
it's not just
whatever.
the girls, no. But them all being squeezed into one area created a little bit of tension and problems. But for the most part, these teams have always included men painters and then the females who are out there taking the pictures. And my girlfriend had a vision that she wanted to do an all-female team. Because of different perceptions that were out there and the message that we're trying to send. I was talking to you about this a little earlier, that we're trying to send a few different messages, and one of them is the desexualization of the female body.
I don't like that term, desexualization, because I like things to be sexualized, but you mean it in a different way.
I do mean it in a completely different way. It's for example, when we're in Times Square and there are women or families who are putting their hands over their kids' eyes and saying don't look, where kids wouldn't even know that breasts were something to be sexualized until puberty, unless we taught them that it was something to be sexualized. It's the same way that we shame breastfeeding mothers, but cleavage is allowed to be out. That kind of thing is what we're trying to bring awareness to. Normalizing nudity, different things like that are the message that we're trying to send, that the hypersexualization of the female body, we believe, is what creates a lot of the sexual violence in our community as well. So if there are times for a woman's body to be sexual, the same way there's times for men's body to be sexual, and there are times for it not. When a woman's walking down the street, she doesn't need to be overly sexualized, is the message that we're trying to send.
Can we think it?
I cannot police your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank God.
Thanks to everyone who's joined us for this very special 100th episode. I can't wait for the next 100. There's so many good stories and so much great advice. How could you miss it? Very shortly, we're moving to a Thursday night time slot. That's Thursday night at 10 p.m. Call in live with your questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Check out Adult Socials at Adult Socials, www.adultsocials.com, for the most diverse swinger events in North America. For those of you looking for the hottest swinger and fetish events in New York City, check out Pendulum, located in Manhattan's Financial District, the alternative venue with a fetish flair. Caligula, New York, located in Astoria, Queens, home of the hottest dance floor in the Northeast. And, of course, Bowery Bliss, Manhattan's premier on-premise swinger club located on the Bowery in Manhattan. All venues are available for private party rentals. Contact us. If you know anyone that would like to guest on the show, again, contact us. If you're listening to this show live, it's Tuesday night. Check out Bowery Bliss right now. Bowery Bliss is the only swinger club open every Tuesday night. Doors stay open till 1 a.m. and the party goes till 2 a.m. Say hello to Jose, Jonesy, Alexis, Daryl, and the rest of the Bowery Bliss staff. In fact, I'm on my way over there now. I'm your host, Jack Arona, and we're here on City World Radio every Tuesday night from 10 to 11 p.m. Remember to make time to play, but remember to play safe. See you all next week.
Thank you for listening to the City World Radio Network. You, yes you, can broadcast live from our studios in New York City. If you'd like to learn more about how you can be heard all over the world, contact us through our website, www.cityworldradio.com.